buying and selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards at the right time can feel like an impossible task. Especially when you have these cards on your wish list that you're about to buy, you pit it off for a second and then poof, they're gone. Well, you don't really have to worry about much if you follow this video to the very end, because today I'm going to be talking about some cards that are moving fairly quickly on the market, and I'm going to be explaining why these cards are cards that you should consider picking up because they are skyrocketing in price. So if you're planning on picking up some of these cards for that sweet, sweet deal, now is probably going to be the time. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Before we start, I just wanted to let you know that if you are buying from tcgplayer.com, then go ahead and use my link down below in the description. I'll also have it as a pinned comment. It doesn't cost you anything, and it actually really helps the channel out. It seems like it's a fair trade, no? Trading information, and all you have to do is make sure you do the right thing by Squamata with that information. Also, if you want to be able to get the details of this list earlier than when the video comes out, then consider joining my Patreon, as not only do we have that as a reward, we have so much more behind the scenes content and other stuff you would love. Without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's actually start talking about the very first card. The first card that is currently being bought out right now is actually from an archetype. Evil Twins Trouble Sunny made its debut from the Burst of Destiny set a little while ago. Why is this card starting to be bought out? Well, it's actually a really good card. Evil Twins Trouble Sunny does boast a 3000 attack and allow you to tribute it off to be able to special summon a Leela and Kisa Kill monster from your graveyard, but actually the real reason why it's so powerful is because of its graveyard effect. What this card does is that you can banish it from your graveyard and send an evil twin monster from your deck to the graveyard as cost. Then on resolution, you can send one card on the field to the graveyard. This card is actually busted. Not only does this card not target, it allows you to send a card on the field to the graveyard during the resolution. That means that no matter what your opponent does, you can select a card on your opponent's side of the field after they use cards in response to Trouble Sunny, making this card a lot more powerful. This effect works really well with cards like Dogmatica Punishment and Nadir Servant, but the reason why it's being bought out right now is because a new card, Artemis Slay, inside of the Power of the Elements set makes this card ridiculous. Artemis Slay allows you to get rid of an opponent's link monster in the field, and then you can trigger this card's effect to get rid of another card on their side of the field. There's also the Evil Twins main deck monster, the only Evil Twins main deck monster in order to activate this effect, Evil Twin Kisa Kill and Leela, which actually can summon itself from the graveyard by tributing 2 link monsters. That's not bad. On top of that, Evil Twins Kisa Kill and Leela actually is a mini evenly match, forcing your opponent to send cards on their field to the graveyard so they only control 2, so it's a pretty good effect. In essence, between your Artemis Slay, your Evil Twins Trouble Sunny, and your Evil Twins Kisa Kill and Leela, you are pretty much able to send a buttload of cards from your opponent's field to the graveyard, and that's why these cards are being sought after right now. Another card that is gaining a ton of traction, I actually mentioned it on my buy these cards before they skyrocket in price video, is DD Crow. Now, DD Crow is being bought out for actually one reason and one reason only. Because it's good. DD Crow allows you to banish one card in your opponent's graveyard, which was already proven to be really successful against the Despia strategy. But the reason why this card is still climbing up is for multiple reasons. The first is that it's actually really good against the tier element strategy as well. The tier element monsters like Hephaestus, Marrow, and Siren, I completely apologize for butchering those names, all need to be able to place the fusion materials to the bottom of the deck, including themselves. So being able to use DD Crow on these cards are effectively destroying the entire archetype. It literally kills the strategy before they can even use it. DD Crow also just has really good interactions against some of the top decks across the board. Being able to banish a monster that your opponent wants to use for a Therion target, banishing monsters like Eldritch the Golden Lord from the graveyard, and also being able to hit Chaotic Ruler the Chaotic Magical Dragon before he summons himself to the side of the field has been extremely useful. One thing that I have observed without any reprints inside, every copy of DD Crow is at least $5. This could get a lot worse once the Power of the Elements set comes out. Now, I know I talked about SHADDOLL Winda being a card that you should buy before it skyrockets in price, and respectively that card has been creeping up. But another card you should genuinely start looking at, especially if you like nicer things in life, are just the SHADDOLL monsters. Cards like SHADDOLL Beast have already started to go up in price because of the tier element strategy. Reason is because the tier element strategy actually sends cards from the deck to the graveyard, not a part of the cost. So you mean to tell me that activating these tier element cards can trigger monsters like Squamata? I likes this. Let's go hunting for King Cali. Other monsters like SHADDOLL Beast have already soared in price because it is a free draw one alongside of being able to fusion summon amongst other effects. There's also SHADDOLL Dragon, which allows you to destroy a spell or trap card on the field, but some other cards that players have been looking at are SHADDOLL Hedgehog to be able to recruit SHADDOLL monsters to your hand, and SHADDOLL Squamata. I genuinely think now is the time to get a hold of your high rarity SHADDOLL cards, especially considering that the Battle of Legends set that the cards did come in is a few years old. And another card that tier element players are buying out is King of the Swamp. Now, the King of the Swamp variant of tier elements allows you to fusion summon to some monsters that you normally wouldn't be able to. It also allows you to search polymerization from your deck to your hand, giving you an extender just in case if your first combo gets stopped by, I don't know, a DD Crow or something, right? Not only is King of the Swamp amazing at being able to fetch that polymerization, it's also good at being treated as a fusion substitute, allowing you to branch off to bigger fusion monsters because the tier element strategy only currently has 2 fusion monsters in itself. So there also just so happens to be another super competitive deck in Power of the Elements that people are going to be gearing up to buy. The SPLIGHT strategy is seen as the tier 0 strategy that is going to come over and take over the meta. Is that going to happen? Well, I think only time will tell. I'm a little bit more optimistic, but cards that players are picking up are Deep Sea Diva. Now, Deep Sea Diva actually is a fairly good card, allowing you to special summon another copy of, well, normally itself, but a level 3 or lower sea surfing monster from your deck. I actually don't think that this is the best card to pick up from SPLIGHT. I actually think it's Nimble Beaver and Nimble Angler. Not only are these cards common, they're extremely cheap, but they're a little bit more versatile. But when you look at it, Deep Sea Diva being bought out is probably never going to go back down because of the Time Wizard format and us being able to play older formats. So kind of a double. If you pick up Deep Sea Divas right now for SPLIGHT, you're never going to be punished. If you decide to play in the Edison Time Wizard format, this is a card that's going to be heavily sought after for that particular format. There's also Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. This card is really good against the SPLIGHT strategy, as this strategy is really reliant on one particular extra deck card. If I remember correctly, it is Gigantic SPLIGHT, the monster that allows them to prevent them from being Nibiru'd and special summon to do all that crazy stuff. Using Ghost Reaper on that particular card gives SPLIGHT a very hard time to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And a lot of times can win you the game. Of course, we already talked about cards like Swap Frog, and we've already talked about Live Twin being a budget deck. Unfortunately, those won't be so budget when Power of the Elements comes out because players have been buying the living daylights out of them. Hey guys, Editor Cali here. Now, the reason why I'm adding this part and the reason why this video didn't come out yesterday is because the creator of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, Kazuki Takahashi, has passed, and I have a few choice words. Without him, we wouldn't even be talking. Like, I wouldn't even probably exist at this point in stage in my life. I am internally grateful for Mr. Takahashi, and all of my thoughts and condolences go to the Takahashi family. Yu-Gi-Oh is an amazing card game, manga, and of course anime that we all have in common. It's really amazing that, you know, one man brought us all together so we can even have this conversation, be friends, and meet so many awesome people. With that being said, every single time I play a Yu-Gi-Oh card or summon a monster, I'll always remember not only him and all of the things that he's done for us, but every childhood memory along the way. Now, of course, I gotta finish this video. The last card that I want to talk to you about is Chaos Hunter. Chaos Hunter has easily skyrocketed, or is starting to skyrocket in price because of the Power of the Elements set that's coming up. Preventing your opponent from banishing is amazing, and Chaos Hunter can summon itself to the side of the field and prevent your opponent from banishing. This is already fairly decent against the Despia strategy if you can protect it. This card will only become more powerful when Power of the Elements comes out. Chaos Hunter will legitimately be a game-winning card. And that's pretty much all that I have for today's video. If there's anything you can take from this portion of the video, cherish the people that you have while you have them, and appreciate the people that create for you, because if they ever, when they do, then the world will be a lot different. But don't stop it from being a better place.